Good evening. Welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. And now, for your host, Kimberly McElmore.
All right. Hello, and welcome to another night of sharing. With us, we have Dr. Renee Sunday, founder and CEO of Renee Sunday Enterprises, LLC, Sunday Publishing Company, LLC, and RS Commerce, PC. Welcome, Dr. Renee Sunday. How are you?
I'm great, Kimberly. Thank you so much.
Well, I am so excited about this opportunity to interview you. I've met you in person finally, a couple months ago. I can't believe we're already in May, because I was just back in March. Didn't get a chance to really talk to you much, but so now I get the opportunity to actually talk to you, but we're doing it through an interview. So this is even much, much better. So, if you would just take the time and just tell the listeners just a little bit about yourself.
Well, we just thank you so much for this opportunity, Kimberly. You're doing an amazing job, and we're so proud of you of just changing the world. So we thank you for that opportunity. I am Dr. Renee Sunday, and I'm known as the platform builder in the marketplace. And what I have the awesome opportunity of doing is I help people identify their purpose. And then if they're not aware, and then we help build a platform so they can be seen, be heard, and guess what? Get paid. But I actually give all of that to my journey in my life, because you do have to go through good and bad. You have to go through all those different challenges to be where I am today. And so I am also a practicing board certified anesthesiologist for 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so as people say, Kimberly, I put them to sleep and wake them up. You have to do A and B. Amen. So,
amen to that. Wow, you are a real doctor. Oh my
That's what everybody say. Yeah, I did the whole 13 years in all, with college, medical school, and residency. And so people say that all the time. So it's kind of interesting. But I enjoy, Kimberly, being part of God's plan in regards of the healing process and helping people, because they get a hoot by my name. And I've been very fortunate that I do have a great bedside manner. So my goal is to help everyone to have procedures, surgeries, to be as smooth as it can be, because it's already a stressful situation. So the great thing about it, Kimberly, all those skill sets that I've been able to transfer them over to the things that I do now, from the publishing through the media personality, through the coaching platforms and the counseling programs that I have been entrusted with. It just came right on over, because I always get that question, how you do everything. But think about it. Being an anesthesiologist, I have to be type A. Right. And I have to be strategic at what I do. So that's what really have afforded me to be where I am right now.
Right. Well, it's amazing. I'm sitting here listening and I'm thinking to myself, wow, the transition, I wouldn't have put two and two together in any day, even though, I definitely researched some of your information, but just to be able to hear it come, and how you're telling the story, I think is absolutely amazing, that you would go from being an anesthesiologist, and here you are. Now you're in a whole different world, but like you said, that transition helps, and you do have to have a certain personality, and you have the most bubbly personality I've ever met, and you put people at ease, and I agree with that, because from the time that I met you, I'm like, I was already starstruck, so it was like, okay, but then talking to you, you made me feel very comfortable and made me feel like, hey, we're just like everybody else. And I think that's a big part of what people don't understand as we're in business, is that we are human beings. And, what the journey that we've gone through, we're trying to help other people get to that same journey, so it's just amazing that what you've accomplished. So just tell me, though, a little bit about, and my listeners, tell us a little bit about how you, where you're originally from. And then it's obvious that, you became a doctor. And then what truly made you decide to jump into this world of the radio and television personality?
Wow, Kimberly, we'll condense it as much as possible. Because it's a life journey that was divinely orchestrated. As you can tell, I'm a Southern belle. I was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama. To the amazing, my mom and dad, Mr. and Mrs. Renee Sunday, they didn't stir the rod. I mean, I got whoopings, and I got no time out in Birmingham. But I did grow up, Kimberly. I did grow up in poverty. I did go through the stage of the bullying because I'm a tall young lady. I'm 5'10" now, but I was the tallest one in my class throughout school. And then I was slim and I wore glasses since the 3rd grade. And my last name Sunday. So that all went to the bullying. I was called the Sunday girl, the church girl, the 4-eyed, olive oil, all of those names. And so the bullying, my parents, they were firm with me. They told me that I was beautiful and wonderfully made, that I could do whatever I put my mind to. And that actually still to the day as me, the things that I do now. If something go not right, I always glean from what they instilled in me as a child. Because bullying, back then we didn't call it that, but it's a serious thing. And I try to tell people you can go to the other side of that, but you have to have support, and you have to let somebody else know, because a lot of people really don't know that they're doing it to the extent that it's actually hurting somebody else, and the self-esteem and the confidence. But actually, I matriculated through that, and my sister, I have to give her credit with my parents as well. She's a family practice physician. So I was that nagging little sister that was always in her books, her clothes, pretty much her everything, Kimberly. And so she didn't realize that she was, really one of my true role models among my parents. And so anyway, as life went on, I went to, I was class valedictorian of the high school, and then I went to college and medical school. So really and truly, my main impact to be in medicine was from my sister. But let me tell you, as we go on through residency and move on, life happened. Life happens to everybody. When the market did its thing, it happened in the hospital as well. So being an anesthesiologist, they can get 4 nurses that certified registered nurses that do anesthesia. They can get 4 for the price of 1 physician. I'm not saying the standard the care was any different, but that's what happened. It happened across the board. Wow. And so that happened not once, Kim, but twice. And the second time I went from 6 figures to 0 in 1 day. Yes. Really? 24 hours. And I said, okay, Lord, you got a sense of humor here.
That's a little bit too much sense of humor, right?
But it was a stage. It was a staircase, if you will, to open up and push me actually into my purpose and my destiny. And so really right after that, Kim, another blow happened almost. My brother passed away, and he passed away at 37 years old. It's been about 7 years now. But he died from a ruptured abdominal aneurysm. And what that is, just in a nutshell, it's the major vessel in our body that takes blood throughout our body. And that was a major adjustment for my family, because that was the first time someone in our inner family that passed away. But let me tell you, my therapy, and I'm going to just say what it really is, my therapy was journaling, was writing. And they told me to write something that was close to me. And guess what? It was my brother. Fast forward, people read that information, that 900 word the writing that I did. I ended up developing that into my first book. Now, the reason I had to go through all that backstory, because think about it, back then, physicians was not on social media like they are today. Right. So 2013, I had to get on social media to promote and market my book. And people would inbox me back then and say, how can you be so positive, so encouraging, talking about grief? And opened the window of me, one lady not even talking to me on the phone, not even meeting me in person, asked me to be the co-host on her radio and TV show. And so that's how I actually got in the media, and people would pull me aside, Kimberly, all the time and say, won't you do your own platform? I said, you guys must be really playing with me. And so I finally did it, and honestly, it really, many doors have opened since then. And within first year, we was on Oprah Winfrey's platform, part of her tour that she did around the world.
Wow.
With Bishop Jake's media team. We're actually part of the NFL media, and so many other great opportunities that have been afforded to us. But, you know, if you look back, like, really, now we can say this in my family, that my brother passed and really pushed all of us really into our purpose, because I even, God had another sense of humor. I was called into the ministry as well, which I was already doing ministry, but actually in regards of preaching and that type of thing. But I can laugh about it now, and I know a lot of your listening audience, it is an ouch moment for them. It's a hurting thing, but you know what? It will get better, because that pain leads you to your purpose.
Right. But, you know, isn't it just funny, though, how when you think about it, that the pain is what makes us move, even though, you know, we live our lives every day and we don't think about certain things. And it's like, yeah, you think about kind of in your back of your mind, oh, you know, maybe I want to do this or maybe I'll do that. But then it takes that one little thing that will push us over the edge. And that's what pushed you over the edge. But look at where you're at. But, you know, I just sit back and I'm listening to your story and I'm thinking about, you know, everybody has a story to tell. You know, I have a story to tell, you know, being that I'm a new published author as well with the domestic violence that I've had to deal with. So all those things have pushed us into moving more forward, into helping other people and making them realize that there is absolutely life after everything that happens, you know, whether tragic or not. There's things that, you know, that you can continue to do, but the way that we're doing it now is the most beneficial, I think, and the most pleasing, and like you said, the most healing process of all. And, you know, so listening to all the things you've accomplished, you know, like you said, you're the host of a Good Deeds radio TV show. You know, you're the platform builder, you're a grief and loss specialist, you're a group counselor, motivational inspiration coach, passion and purpose guru, author, publisher. When do you have time to do anything else? I'm like, wow.
Kimberly, you know, I get that question all the time. Honestly, let me just be real honest. I actually, when I first transitioned, if you will, from totally medicine to the things that I do now, I really had a challenge in the beginning. And the challenge was because if you think about the anesthesiologist controls, and I'm going to say that word like that, right, controls the operating room. You know, we protect the patients, we do all these type of things, but we actually have great systems in place that actually helps us take care of the patient. And so I tried to get in what I'm doing now. I tried to come out and do that. And I had got a rude awakening that I can't do 13 things in one day, that I actually have to have self-care. I did have that when I totally did anesthesia, because every 4 months I would take a vacation, because it's a very stressful and demanding career. But I just, Kimberly, had to regain that knowledge when I actually got into the things that I do. So I do have a great team. They make me look good on social media. They make me look good in the things that I do, and I give them the credit for that. But I do a lot of self-care, meaning affirmations. I do my prayer. I do the meditation. And I love candles and stuff like that. But I do have to take that time out. But I have a lot of bells and whistles, meaning systems in place that actually keep the ball rolling.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because I'm super thinking, I'm sure you definitely have a wonderful team that you can, you know, depend on. But like you said, you have to take that time for yourself, because it's important, because if you don't, you know, you can't be here to help all those other people who need your blessings, because you have a whole lot to give. And like I said, just your personality alone, to sit down and just have a few minutes of conversation will be able to uplift anybody into doing what their purpose and what they're supposed to be doing in life. I mean, I'm just sitting here listening. I'm like, you know, I could sit here and listen to you talk all night. So I was like, wow, this is great. So, you know, talk a little bit about your Good Deeds radio show. I know that Dr. Larry White Sr. was on your show here recently. I got a chance to listen to that. So I have heard a couple of them, but, you know, talk to the audience and my listeners about what it is that inspired you to do that particular talk show.
Well, it's interesting, but you know, like I think I've said it a couple of times, but the great thing is you have to have people, like-minded people around you, because and it's so interesting that you have to have a mentor and a coach. I have to say that. The people that are around me, my first coach says, for some reason, I just think you need to do good deeds because you do a lot of good deeds. But they also said that you need to do something with get purpose now, something with purpose. And I'm like, okay. So we ended up doing the good deeds because it encompassed all of that. So what we do in a nutshell, we help people shine their light to the world. And people said, Dr. What are you talking about light? Because I don't even feel good right now. But that's that's your dreams, your goals, your passion, right, your destiny in life. And we help people shine that light to the world because somebody right now is waiting on you to be in your purpose, because I can't be in my purpose unless you're in your purpose. So that's what we do. We do an amazing job in that. And again, we just really been very blessed and to have some wonderful people and I learned from every broadcast. That's the thing that people say, because I always say, one lady asked me, Doctor, you always say you getting your pen and paper. I say, yes, because you always have to be teachable and coachable. Mm-hmm. And I'm so excited that when they say something, I'm writing it down. I'm going back to the replay and stopping them, so I can glean from what knowledge they actually bring to the world.
Right. And you're right. If you're not teachable, you're never going to be able to move forward, though. And I think that's a lot of things that people need to start looking within inside themselves to understand that, you can be anything you want to be, but you also have to be willing to be flexible, and to be bendable, to understand that we don't have all the answers, but there's always somebody out there that, like you said, can mentor you and help you move forward in doing the things that you can live your passion. Because nothing worse than getting up every day and knowing that you're just upset and just not thrilled about what it is that you're doing. And I think we've all been through that process at one time or another in our lives. So, when you finally start to figure it out, what you can do for yourself, it's just the most amazing feeling. And, the same way when you're talking about having the radio show, I always tell people I love being behind the mic, because there's something about that control and power of knowing that you get to share your information and other people get to share their information back with you. And you have this amazing opportunity to let the whole world hear about it that I probably would never be able to reach, just by standing in front of that one or two people at a time. So I always enjoy having the opportunity to be behind the mic and listening to other podcast shows and other programs. But talk to me, though, a little bit about your publishing company, because I don't think I have met anybody who owns their own actual publishing company. And what made you decide to do that?
Kimberly, I'm shaking my head because, again, we go back to life. You know what? And it's always good to have someone that see greatness in you more than you see in yourself. And that's what happened. As I said earlier about the grief book that I wrote, the Sunday Grief MD, just telling people how to go through the grieving process, right, to have that light bulb experience that your loved one and even your pet wants you to have a light bulb experience so you can move forward and to realize they want you to be happy. So I was publishing that book, and lo and behold, the lady that I wanted to go through to publish it, she said, it's just something about you. She said, I just can't publish your book. I said, what? You know what? I thought it wasn't a good book. She said, no, you need to publish do your own publishing company. And I said, oh, wow. And let me show you how life happens. She's supposed to help me get the ISBN and show me how to do it, do the Library of Congress number. And it was something else, in regards to the format.
Right. The editing, formatting.
I had to do all of that myself. And it works out because now I have great input in those areas when I actually do other people's book. So you see how something that we may think is a challenge or a stumbling block, if you will, but it actually prepared me to be where I am right now. So we do mostly motivational inspiration, but it's not, truly faith-based. The key is that someone turns from, wherever the story starts, that they actually have a light bulb experience at the end, that they can help someone with their journey that we call life. And that's what we do. It's amazing. Seem like we at our peak now. Everybody's realizing that their story needs to be out there, and they have been entrusted with that. So we're excited. We're excited. Again, shout out to my team, because it takes a lot of pieces with that. You got to have the right book cover. You got to have the right editor. You have to the right proofreader. It's a whole strategic plan with that. And I'm just very grateful to be in that position that I can help other people with that.
Yeah, you're right. It's absolutely a process, because I always get that question, well, how do you become an author? Well, first of all, you need to write. So that's usually a good start, So.
But I used to tell people that's the easy part. That's the easy part. And people ask me and they say, uh-oh.
Right. Because I always talk to people about it too. It's always about what happens, after you do the book. And that's usually the hardest part, that most people have no knowledge. And even though, of course, there's plenty of information out here, but it's really a process that is, hard to understand. Because, like I said, when, I looked at to see that you were a publishing company, I was like, wow, that's really great. Because I just starting myself, I was like, oh, this is great to know that I can have some great feedback. So I'm going to start my own self-publishing workshops here starting in this summer. So, because everybody has that same question of how do you get started? What do you do? And what's the next steps? And like you said, it is a process, and it's just truly, getting people the proper knowledge. And just like you were talking, something as simple as an ISBN number that people have no idea how to even, what that is or why it's important to even have, So, so it's just really.
And then with the way Create Space is doing, they've eliminated that feature. So
exactly.
So now what you're going to do next, and I always tell people to try to have as many things in your name as possible, because you never know when it's going to go down. Like we see what happened with, Create Space with that feature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've changed a lot of their features, but they also, I found it was really interesting is that they've, they've taken over Kindle, of course. So, now they own Kindle. You can at least upload your book now into the Kindle format. So I think that is really great, because I know when I first did my book just a year ago, they didn't have that feature available.
Mm-hmm. You're right. You're right. Mm-hmm.
So just having these little conversations, and the knowledge that's out there, the wealth of knowledge, and being able to share those opportunities, because we're authors ourselves, I think is just amazing, and great to be able to get that information out. But so tell me though, just a little bit, how many other books did you say that you had?
Well, I've been a freight train lately. I like the 2013, I did the grief book, and then I kind of stop for a little bit. Let me be honest right there. Mm-hmm. And then, because I was really building the platform of the radio and TV show. And so then after that, we did a collaboration called Manifestation Now, and it's 7 ladies. We compiled our stories together to let people know that manifestations can happen now. Mm-hmm. But you have to go through what we just been talking about, a journey. It's a process that you have to go to get that, but it's always now available for you, but it's certain things you have to do. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we actually, the amazing, and people said, Dr. Sunday, you change your book cover, you kind of change your whole genre. And actually, I did a great research on that, because the 18 years I've been in business, I've made some good decisions, I've made some bad decisions. Mm-hmm. So many people, especially in the state of Georgia where I'm from, if you do the research, there are so many LLCs and nonprofit that's not active or not making money. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to glean and let people know that, let me tell you what I did now. Do not do this. And so we actually, the Entrepreneur Mandate, that's our next book. And then we're actually very soon here. I had a real bad experience on one of the major interstates here in Atlanta. Of course, coming right from a conference, of course, mm-hmm. I had a flat tire. And the Motor Vehicle Association I called didn't come. The actual local people that help you on the interstate didn't come. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's getting dark out here.
Right.
And then a good Samaritan that I thought he was, Kimberly, this older gentleman of all things, tried to change my tire. And then he took my tire in the back of his white van and pretty much cut my tire. And I had to make a really quick decision, and thank God he was with me, but because I had to tell him quickly that I had somebody on the phone and I did not need his tire, but that could have went a wrong direction. Right. And I'm grateful that it didn't. But what I ended up doing, and I I've written a book to tell for women, men too, of course they can, but 50 things a lady should know about a car. I mean,
Okay.
of course it's only 50. There's more we need to know, but we need to know how to check our air pressure. We need to know we have to change our tire. We need to know a lot of things about our car. And I mean, really what kind of first aid kit we need, what kind of, those type of things. And so I actually, that's what will be coming out shortly. We really want to help women in that area because let's just be honest. There's a lot of single women. It's a lot of ladies. We work at night. We work long distance from our home.
Right.
And we need to be able to do things because, of course, sometimes our lovely cell phone may not have the signal. So we need to be able to make a wise decision of how to take care of ourselves in those situations.
That's true. That is absolutely true. So that's amazing. How, like I said, it's our experiences is what makes it easy to write books, and that's the thing that I always try to make people understand too, that, they're like, well, what am I going to write about? What do you do every day? What do you think is important that people would want to hear about and that would be of interest, and that the content and that's valuable? That's the key about writing books, and you have definitely figured out that niche. So I was like, wow, okay, I'm gonna have to get that book when it comes out because I've gotten lazy. I don't I don't change tires anymore. I used to at one point, but I think that's going to be a very, very interesting book. So, I have a couple other questions before we close out. Tell me, if you had one woman come to you today and ask you about opening a business, what advice would you give them?
Oh, the first thing, and I had to learn this. I think I talked about it, touched on it real briefly, is please do your personal development. And what I mean with that is make sure your mindset is on one, not quitting, because you're not going to quit. That it will be some up and down days, but always remember the ones that's down, that you learn from that you glean from that. You have to really, and I started this out the back because I knew this was a new area for me. Mm-hmm. You have to have a mentor and a coach. You have to. And people always ask me, Kimberly, how do you find, the social media is amazing, but look at their testimonials, watch them a little bit. And when you have a conversation, see if you have peace, if you resonate with what they stand for and what their business stand for. Mm-hmm. And then just read a lot, read, and go to as many networking events and glean from other people. But the key is you have to have that time of mindset to make sure anything in your past, especially in my case about money and all that with poverty, I had to make sure I still had that out of me. Okay. because you cannot be successful doing self-sabotage of yourself. Amen. Because you can have the skill set, but if you bashing yourself behind the scene, guess what? Your customers, your family, everyone you present to on Facebook Live and live to, they don't know that. They're going to sense that. And people do not buy, and we hear this all the time, from confusion. So that's what I would do. And tune in every time this podcast is, because a lot of great gems are dropped throughout every broadcast. So please just put that button and subscribe. Exactly. So you'll get that notice. Yeah. So we just got to do several things, but you can do it. You just, you don't stop. Get it. Like I always say.
That's right. Like I tell people, get on your grind. That's right. Every single day. Because the opportunity is absolutely there. It's just what you're willing to put into it is also important. So yeah. So I have one more question. So could you tell the listeners how they can get a hold of you?
Wow. Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Kimberly. Thank you for your extending the opportunity to be on your platform. But the great thing is all of my information is on one place. It's in our website. And we have a free offer there. We talked about purpose, right? Mm-hmm. So you actually it's a free ebook there to help you walk through identifying your purpose or making sure that you have identified your purpose. And all that information is at our website, which is www.reneesunday.com, and that's RENEE Sunday, like the day of the week, SUNDAY.com. And all the social media, YouTube and all that is on that homepage as well.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. I absolutely want to say thank you for coming on tonight. And do you have any last words though before we close out?
Well, this one thing, What we need to do is, ladies, I know you've heard this all over the media, and the gentleman's listening too. You have power, and I'm not saying power to control people, but power to make a change in your own life. I always say on my platform, there's 3 things you have to do. You have to believe, you got to trust, and you got to walk it out. And you don't have to walk it out alone. It does take the whole village to raise a child and raise our business to where it needs to be. And so we need to work together. Collaboration goes both ways, but we need to work together, and you will succeed. If you don't stop, get it, right?
That's right. I love it. All right. Again, like I said, thank you for coming on tonight and sharing your story. For everyone else, enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night.
Good night, everyone. We will be back next Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Follow us on Spreaker, www.spreaker.com/user/WSBI. View our new WSBI website anytime at www.wsbillc.com and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram.